So I do updates all the time, every week on these shows, John, and I tell people the market is shifting and buyers have an advantage. Sellers still have a good advantage, and they can sell their homes reasonably quickly. And I'd love to start out with your opinion on kind of what you see happening in the real estate market.
Oh, that's a great question. It's definitely becoming more balanced in the sense that it's a fair deal for both sellers and buyers, I think. We're seeing more opportunities for buyers to be able to negotiate for repairs, for the appropriate contingency timelines that it might take to make sure the home's inspected, make sure it doesn't have any issues, get the home appraised, have an opportunity to review that appraisal, make sure they know what they're buying and they know what they're paying for that home is really market value. So that's been encouraging to see, because I think that's really returning back to a more healthy lending environment in real estate world. Over the last 18, 24 months, that's been a challenge for the first-time buyer. A lot of times they need FHA or some type of financing that, sellers just haven't wanted to deal with over the last year, or they've needed concessions. They might need the seller to pay $5,000 or $10,000 of their closing expenses for them to make the home more affordable.
So they can qualify.
Yeah, and they're being able to negotiate for that now, whereas in the past 18 months, if that was in a contract, it was a non-starter.
Talk about what you're seeing in terms of maybe discounts or concessions from sellers lately.
We've seen as high as $10,000 just in the last 60 days of offers to pay closing costs. And what's really great about that is interest rates have crept up.
Yep.
And that's a huge concern for buyers. We're able to take some of those contributions from the sellers and buy down the buyer's interest rate, making the payment more affordable. So it really becomes a win-win for both parties.
It used to be a local Atlanta lender. It was based in Georgia and Florida, and now they've merged with another company. We won't name any names on the radio show, but it does start with a true and end with ist. Truist. Sorry, did I say that out loud? And what they say, by the way, I don't have a problem with them. The reality is their marketing says push a button, get a mortgage. Rocket Mortgage says, it's as easy as clickety, click, 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 and you can get a mortgage. But that's not true in any case. There's a lot that needs to be done. So talk to me about the role of a loan officer. Why does somebody need to have a live, breathing human being close enough to them that they can get a hold of them if they need to deal with getting a mortgage?
I would put it in two words. One is counsel and one is accountability. Counsel is to making sure you're getting the right type of mortgage instrument for you, not just going with what might be easy to process, might require the least amount of paperwork. There could be a zillion reasons that you get steered into one direction, but not necessarily the best direction for your particular situation. But probably more important than that's accountability. When things don't go as you had hoped, or you've got questions, concerns, you need somebody, a human being with a reputation that they have to protect in our local marketplace, to hold accountable and say, hey, buddy, something went wrong and I need you to fix it.
What is it about the way mortgage originators, loan originators are paid today that keeps that from happening? Because he was getting rich because he was selling people loans that had higher interest rates and ways for him to make more money, but the government has said, hey, you can't compensate your loan officers that way anymore.
Yeah, that's good stuff. So 2009, in the midst of the housing crash, and a lot of that was caused by irresponsible lending. Okay, and what I mean by irresponsible lending is loan officers were paid incentives to sell particular types of mortgages. So I could sell one mortgage and make X amount of dollars, sell another mortgage, make Y amount of dollars. The government very, very wisely, probably the best thing to ever happen to our industry, stepped in and said two things. One, we're going to make you get licensed. We're going to make you have a unique identifier that is tied to every transaction, is on every single disclosure, so we as a governing body can hold you accountable. The second keynote to what you said is not only are we no longer paid or compensated by what type of mortgage. That has nothing to do with it. So it's only in our best interest to make sure the borrower leaves the closing table happy and satisfied. And we're licensed, so we have to go through. In fact, I'm in the middle of my 2022 continuing ed now. It's painful. But every year we have to stay up to date on all the guidelines, regulations that we're required to uphold to make sure that customers are treated fairly.